Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is a session on the GISEC show that's coming up this year in Dubai in late May. This is a cybersecurity show. My name is George Giles from MIA Consulting. I'm in a part of an Israeli company with my co-founder who is on the call, Gil Klein, and we are organizing this event for Israeli companies. So we have helped at the last show at GITEX in Dubai in December, just last month. We helped bring Israeli companies to the show. So we brought over 80 Israeli entrepreneurs to attend the event, as well as over, I think, 24, 25 companies to exhibit. Now, the UAE is a very interesting market for many reasons. After the Abraham Accords came online in September, we saw a lot of interest from the UAE in doing business with Israeli companies. But the thing you also have to remember, the UAE, Dubai particularly, is a trade hub for the rest of the region, for the Middle East, Africa, and Asia as well. Now, there aren't many opportunities to actually go. Our airports are locked down now, but they were open in December and they will be open again shortly. So the GISEC event is a great opportunity to meet many of these people in the region in one place who are used to this show. This is a very large cybersecurity show for the region. It's been running for many years. It has a lot of pull for local business, investors, ministry people. So in one place over a week period of time, you have an opportunity to meet key decision makers, partners, resellers, and understand the rest of the markets in the area. For example, where Israel now has an agreement with Sudan, with Bahrain, and we have more of a presence in the region, and there is demand. So this is one great area where you can go meet people, set up your booth, have a presence, or even attend to see what it's like. For this call, we have several people from the UAE who are going to talk about the event itself. The Dubai World Trade Center has a representative called James Dartnell, who's the marketing manager. He will talk about the event, who comes to the event. Welcome, James.
Hi, thanks very much, George.
You're very welcome. After that, Nawaz Ali, who is the Senior Business Development Manager, also at the Dubai World Trade Center, who is helping manage this event, will tell you about the opportunities, the commercial side of this, sponsorship booths, early bird pricing, which we still have, and how you can participate in the event. Now, this is a hybrid event. Keep in mind, there's a virtual version before the actual in-person event, but both of them are going to happen. The last person we're going to have on is a cybersecurity expert named Nathan Swain, who is the chairman of GISEC 2020, which was the last show in December. He's also the former trusted security advisor of the UK government. So he has a lot of experience and knowledge about the opportunities in the area for different technology companies, and can share what is of interest for companies, resellers, ministries, and the initiatives that you can take an opportunity and explore more. So with that, I'd be happy to hand it over to the rest of the group. We will take questions at the end, so please put them in chat. We'll have a good 15, 20 minutes to answer any questions that you might have. So welcome and thank you. Guys, it's off to you.
Thanks very much, George. As George said, I'm marketing manager for Dubai World Trade Center. Before my colleague Nawaz goes into a bit more detail about GISEC specifically, I'm just going to give you a very quick sort of overview of Dubai World Trade Center, or DWTC. So very simply, we're a semi-government organization, and we're the largest exhibitions and events venue and largest exhibitions organizer in the Middle East and North Africa region. Our company mission is very simple. It's to make Dubai the world's largest, or rather the world's sort of center point for conferences, events, and exhibitions. We have three main lines of business. As I've said, our primary business is around meetings, incentives, conferences, and events. We then have our real estate business, which focuses on office buildings and hotels. And then we have our free zone licensing business, which helps companies in Dubai to operate. DWTC celebrated its 40th anniversary in 2019, and currently really plays an essential role in helping to increase both business tourism and trade, and bringing that into Dubai. We play a key role really in helping to sort of promote Dubai's status as an international commercial hub, which really sort of acts as a crossroads between a number of key regions within the world. We help attract business travelers from across the world, as I've said, as well as sort of encouraging, the development of an entrepreneurial ecosystem and sort of help the UAE's transition to becoming a knowledge-based economy. Every year, DWTC's portfolio of events, indirectly and directly indeed, helps to create thousands of jobs within the country. We also help to create a lot of wider economic impact and sort of ongoing value through the work that we do. GISEC, of course, falls into our portfolio of exhibitions. Within that portfolio, we also have Gulf Food, which is the world's largest food trade show. And as George mentioned, GITEX Technology Week, which is our sort of flagship technology event. In December, we hosted the 40th edition of GITEX, which, given the current backdrop, was obviously a major achievement for DWTC and for Dubai. We hosted participants from 107 countries for that. And really, I think we kind of proved that we can host events safely and responsibly in this current climate. We went the extra mile to make sure that visitors and participants were kept safe. So DWTC is currently certified with Bureau Veritas's safeguard label, which means we attest to the highest possible international standards in health and safety. So really, we've kind of set the benchmark for the restarting of the global events sector. But we're certainly very proud of that. And indeed, for GITEX, we also another big sort of landmark occasion really for DWTC, which was working closely with the Israel Export Institute to organize a delegation of over 300 technology, business and investment experts. So really fantastic stuff there. Certainly in the near future, we really look forward to welcoming you here and to working closely with Israel. And I suppose, yeah, it's great to be involved today. So thank you. I'd like to hand over to my colleague Nawaz now. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you for that. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. I manage GISEC from a sales and exhibition perspective. So I'm the one who normally deals with the vendors, with the partners, with regards to their involvement and participation at the show. So just to give you a quick brief about GISEC. GISEC, full form being Gulf Information Security Expo and Conference, is the most established and niche cybersecurity show, the largest and most impactful one for the Middle East market. We've been executing this show for the last 9 years. This year in 2021, it's going to be the 9th edition, where we are going to be bringing together approximately about anywhere between 8,500 to 10,000 visitors. Now, GISEC is predominantly an exhibition, but we also focus a lot on content, which I'll come to at a later stage of this presentation. Okay, so I will be, just a warning, I'll be running over some slides quite quickly because these are statistics and we can share the slides later on should you wish to get more information about it. So this slide here, which talks about, is our ruler Sheikh Mohammed of Dubai. And he talks about how important cybersecurity is because of the digital era and the connected world that we are in today. Okay, going to the next slide. These are our official partners. Dubai World Trade Center is itself a semi-government entity. We are partnered with some of the key entities from around UAE who basically support the event and help us in growing it and making it better in terms of content and visitors. So Dubai Electronics Security Center is the key government entity based out of Dubai. It's a Dubai-based entity responsible for cybersecurity across Dubai government entities. We have Dubai Police, we have Smart Dubai, and we have Telecom Regulatory Authority of Dubai, which is a federal entity. And we've just partnered with the Cybersecurity Council of UAE, which is a federal entity responsible for government entities across UAE from different emirates to ensure the cybersecurity policies and strategies are in place. Going to the next slide, this is just a quick one. Dubai Cyber Index is something that was launched by Dubai Electronic Security Center, basically it's a first of its kind initiative to make Dubai the smartest and safest in cyberspace around the world. Okay, this is a one-of-a-kind initiative launched last year. Here this slide, you will see is our strong government advisory board, okay? These comprise of different government entities from around UAE who basically help the show in terms of its content, in terms of what the market is looking for, in terms of making sure that the show is high level, all the invitations go to senior decision makers. So for example, we have the VP and IT of Investment Corporation of Dubai. This entity is a partial owner of Dubai World Trade Center, Emirates Group, and one of the large corporates and conglomerates in Dubai. Okay, we have Mr. Colonel Saeed Amal Hajri, who is the head of the cybercrime unit for Dubai Police. We have Fuad Al Ansari from ADNOC, and so on and so forth. So they are the ones who are the backbone of the show. We meet every 2 months to go over the content to ensure that the level of the delegation and visitors is very high to the show. This basically, the next slide here will show you about statistics about Middle East, what the market is like, what the market size is like, and the potential opportunities in the Middle East. I'll not go too much in detail. Of course, Saudi Arabia and UAE are the two most interesting markets in terms of buyer size and buyer potential. So these are the key markets that we focus on for the show. And after UAE, Saudi is our largest audience in terms of visitor base. The next slide here basically shows about the different types of companies that normally participate at the show. As I mentioned earlier, GISEC is a pure play cybersecurity show. So any company that provides products, services, solutions, technology in the cybersecurity space, this is the show for you. Okay, we don't focus on any other element, and we only focus just on cybersecurity. So this slide you can go across later on. It shows you what kind of companies have participated in the past. The next slide here will give you some statistics about GISEC in 2019. We've not given the statistics of 2020 because of our co-location with GITEX, so the numbers are blown up. So the realistic numbers are 2019 numbers, which is something that we look to emulate in 2021 as well. So we're looking to get the same numbers or more in 2021. Okay, so we are looking at roughly about 8,500 visitors, 170 brands that we had in 2019, more than 100 plus speakers with 9 targeted focused workshops and briefings. Okay, so we'll look to have something similar or more in 2021 in May. Again, here we talk about the different kind of industries, different kind of attendance, who are some of the senior people that have attended. And I think this slide can be gone. You can go over it across later on when you have time, when we share this information deck with you. Here you'll see some of the world's most famous hackers that we brought to the show as speakers. This is something that we use to attract senior delegation to the show. Kevin Mitnick, world's most famous hacker, was one of our key speakers in 2019. In 2020, we had Brian Seeley, Bruce Schneier in the past. So we bring in some top-notch speakers and experts, global experts, to come in order to attract senior delegation of visitors and conference attendees to the show. The next slide here again is about the visitor insights, where visitors come from, what kind of delegation, what kind of seniority. Of course, the countries, the top 10 countries were visitors, UAE number 1, Saudi number 2, and so on and so forth. Of course, this time we'll also be targeting Qatar because we just opened up borders with them. This slide here is quite important because this is where 50% of our effort goes into. It's all about content. It's not just about exhibition. So we have 4 stages in 2021 compared to 2 stages in 2020. So the 4 stages, we have one is the main stage. Okay, here we target senior delegates, C-level, heads of IT, top-level delegates to attend. This is an invitation only or paid only attendance stage. So we bring very senior level speakers from across the globe in order to attract C-level executives from the region. We will also have this year vertical focus on this stage in order to attract some of the key sectors or key industries attendance. For example, finance, healthcare, education, government, etc. We have another stage, which is dark stage, focusing on live hacking demos, dark web, very content heavy, mainly presented by ethical hackers, pen testers, and social engineering experts. Okay. We have a third stage, which is a country-focused stage, which would be interesting for this presentation here, because here we will be launching an Israel Discovery Day, okay, where we will be bringing together thought leaders and experts from Israel. And also there will be an opportunity for certain vendors, certain sponsors to have an opportunity to present their expertise and solutions on this particular stage. We will also have another country focus, which is Saudi Arabia. Obviously, it's one of the largest buyer markets. We will be focusing on Saudi. We have a day focus on Africa. And then another stage, which is the XLab stage, where companies can go on stage and present some of the latest offerings and technology in the cybersecurity space. This is not for everyone. It depends on, of course, whether you are a sponsor, what kind of package you've taken, and also if you have something really, really interesting to present, a case study, then we do consider it. Otherwise, normally it comes as a part of a sponsorship package, with the exception of the dark stage, which is based on what kind of hacking demos or live hacking demos or interesting presentations you can give. The next slide here, again, is something quite interesting. It's about matchmaking and meeting setup. So you can, as an exhibitor, you have the option where you can meet or introduce yourself to the visitors and set up meetings via a mobile app, which will be active about 3 weeks prior to the show. So you will have an option to interact with visitors. You will have an option to set up meetings with them prior to the show, prior to you actually being present at the show. For some of the key sponsors and key main sponsors, we do provide an additional service of a concierge service where you do calling to these visitors and set up these meetings to ensure that everything is in order. They go and meet with them at such and such time. Okay. The next slide here is basically how you as a company can participate at the show. You can either participate as an exhibitor, as a sponsor, you can be a presenter, or you can be a part of a private briefing or workshop. These are 3 ways in which you can participate. I will go into details later on should you wish to get more information about this. Now, going into the pricing, we have options for companies starting from a startup. If you're a 5-year-old company, 5 years or less, then you can opt for a startup option where it's a very minimal cost, roughly about $2,500. You get a ready plug-and-play solution, something that you can come and you can straight away activate. You don't need to spend anything extra. It's roughly about $8,850 in AED and about $2,700, $2,800. Okay. This is the startup option. If you're a 5-year-old or less company, then you can go for this option. For this webinar, we have also given an option for anyone a part of this webinar. The first 5 companies that book under the startup package will also get an opportunity to present on the XLab stage, a 10-minute presentation about your offerings and solutions on the XLab stage. So this slide here will give you options about participating. If you're a mid-sized company or a larger company, you have an option to participate with a stand or with a space. So you'll see the prices listed here. We have the standard price and we have an early bird price, which is valid for companies to book. If you're able to book by the 15th of Feb, there is an early bird price, which is $1,940 per square meter. Okay. Of course, you need to multiply this by 9, and you have to, depends on whether you take a shell stand or a space only. So there are 2 options. You either take a shell stand, again, you'll see how the design looks for a ready plug and play solution, or you can take a space only option and you can build a custom design stand. Okay. The price breakdown will be a little simpler to understand in this next slide here, where you will see the different sizes. You have a 9 square meter, you have your 12 square meter, 15 square meter, 25 square meter. So up to about 25 square meter, you need to opt for a shell stand. So a plug and play solution. Again, all you need to spend on would be your graphics, additional television, etc. Otherwise, everything comes as a standalone ready play stand. You just need to spend additional on your graphics and on a television screen if required. Okay, so this will give you the price breakdown. For example, just to give you an insight, a 9 square meter stand would roughly cost you about $6,850 plus 5% VAT. Okay, this, mind you, this is the standard price. If you book before the 15th of Feb or on the 15th of Feb, you'll be eligible for a discount and the early bird price. This is the upgraded shelf stands. For space only, charges are slightly lesser, but you'll need to use a separate standalone stand contractor in order to design and build the stand, which would be an additional cost separate from this. Now, there are different sponsorship options. Should you wish to get involved more, stand out of the crowd, have a more stronger presence at the show, you have different sponsorship options. Most of these sponsorship options come with a presentation opportunity, either on the main stage or on the track stage or on the X Labs or dark stage, depending on which package, which option you go for. So there is strategic, diamond, platinum, etc. So for example, some of our strategic sponsors in 2020, to give you an example, were Microsoft, CrowdStrike, Etisalat, Dubai Electronic Security Center, and so on and so forth. Okay. So you have different options. We have options for everyone. Again, for sponsorship, if anyone books by the 15th of Feb, we will be able to offer you a 10% discount on the price listed here. Going to the next slide, again, different branding options. I will let you go over this at your convenience, different banner options, branding options, targeted SMS, and so on and so forth. For this slide here, you will see the floor. Can you hear me? So this slide here will show you the floor plan in terms of how the floor, the exhibition floor is going to look like, the different stages, the different conference stages. We have different activations. We have a startup zone in the center. We have a competition, Capture the Flag, which we're looking to organize. We have a CISO VIP lounge. We have, different activations in order for you guys, in order for the whole exhibition floor to be active and not just, one section of the floor to be active. So visitors coming to the floor will have to move around and go to the different areas in order to ensure that you get maximum footfall at the exhibition. Going to the next slide, these are some of the top reasons why exhibitors attend our show again and again, and where top exhibitors come from: UAE, UK, Poland, US, etc. I'll let you go over this slide again at your convenience when we exchange information. Going to the next slide, these are some pictures from our 2019 edition. The bottom left corner is a picture of the dark stage, which is one of the stages where I mentioned about hacking demos, which is very, very well received, and something that is content heavy and people are excited about. The next slide here, again, some more pictures to show you what the show is like. And these are some exhibitors we've already confirmed from Israel. And then we have the sponsor slide from 2020, last year in December, where you can see our partners and some of our key partners and sponsors as well. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, I'll be answering questions later on, should you have any. And I will now let you hand it over to Nathan, who will give you a little bit more insight in terms of the UAE cybersecurity ecosystem. Thank you so much. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Nawaz. And hi, everyone who's joining us here today. I hope the insight from Nawaz on how our GISEC event here in Dubai can offer many opportunities for those of you who might be running your own startups or having established companies and you're looking to understand very established exhibitions of world quality that you can be involved with, and definitely speak to Nawaz about that. So yeah, it's great to be here. and I hope everyone's doing well. It's amazing to see Israel being the top of the world in terms of inoculating its people and really putting COVID behind it. And here in the UAE, we're looking to catch you, but Seychelles is doing a great job. Okay, so some of the areas I really wanted to talk to you today is to give you some insight on the industry here, the players in the market, routes to market, and some insight on things here and how we're doing things and what a great part of the world this is to be working in and doing business from. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Nathan Swain. I've got over 20 years experience in hands-on technical security and also leadership in terms of working with central government, central banks, also doing, red teaming, hands-on hacking. I still very much keep in tune with the latest techniques and actually, doing them myself and vulnerability research, etc. Also, I'm very, very interested in current business trends. And I'm involved at the moment with 2 different startups. So yeah, I'd like to try and give you as much information as what I can today in this brief time period that we have. So, firstly, I would just like to talk about potential routes to market and how you can set up and do business here. The first option would be perhaps to just come here, check everything out. Look to set up offices in some of the free zones. For example, Dubai, the World Trade Center is one of the earliest free zones in the country and one of the most established. There are also lots of other free zones that are picking up as well, and also well-established ones. There are also newer ones which are more geared up for startups, actually, and offer very, very easy ways to establish yourself, work out your visas and your residencies very, very quickly. Some that come to mind is obviously the Dubai World Trade Center one, which I've mentioned. There's also the Business Bay area here in Dubai, which is great for startups, tech startups, etc. There's also the ADGM in Abu Dhabi, which is just an hour's drive up the road. The ADGM is the Abu Dhabi General Markets. This is essentially one of the hubs that the region has set up in order to drive fintech startups, but there are also other startups within that region. So it's not cyber specific. However, it's a good reference point perhaps to look at in order to understand the drive from government on developing and encouraging innovation from within the country and also from other countries willing to invest here and take advantage of its geolocation, and also its established working relationships with so many different countries within region and internationally. So that's just some pointers and observations around how to set up through establishing yourself through a free zone as such. Recently, Dubai has taken a very evolutionary step setting up here. So traditionally, you would have to allocate a certain share capital of your company to an Emirati citizen in order to establish your company here in this country. But now the leadership have given opportunities for you to actually have 100% ownership of your company whilst you're setting up here, which is also something you might want to look into. This is something that's only announced within the last 6 months. So again, this is another indicator of what a great country this is. For doing business here, in my experience here, the country loves innovation. It absolutely cries out for bleeding edge technologies and embraces them. And I'm sure for those of you who are very fortunate enough to attend one of our events here, you would have seen that. You would have seen what the government embraces and what they love to do, which is innovation. And they want to be at the top and they want to be driving the top. And, thank God there's so many great examples of where they've delivered world firsts. So if your startup is one that is looking to change the world, you have that great ethos, or you're looking to focus on the next generation of products within cybersecurity particularly, and I believe there's a good few of you who might be joined in on this session now, then really you need to be looking to launch here. This is one of the areas of the world that will give you that springboard to be able to launch from if you can leverage it. Okay, so I wanted to talk about other options. You know, perhaps if you're not willing to commit straight away to opening offices here and you want to be a little bit more leaner, and a lot of international cybersecurity companies have adopted this approach. And this is the approach of taking local partners, engaging with a reseller. So if you have off-the-shelf products, this might be an area which appeals to you. There are lots of advantages with partnering with local resellers. Now, the main ones that I've seen are being able to leverage that relationship database that they've been building up over years. Now, traditionally, selling in region is all based off relationships, as I'm sure you can understand if you've worked in business development. Now, these companies will have a lot of different providers, so you would have to understand which ones would suit your needs, but this offers a really easy route to market if you're looking to be lean and mean and set up fast. However, you would, like I said, you really have to evaluate who you're going to partner with, and there are some really well-established companies here you can partner with, and you know, I won't mention them off by heart, but there's a good few here. I would advise perhaps against doing more due diligence if you're looking to partner with a newly set up reseller, and the older ones that have a good track record, you know, they're well established into the government and also private sector markets. So now moving on to the market intelligence side of things and how cyber fits into, you know, our cybersecurity ecosystem here. So, you know, if you take a step back and consider the global state of cybersecurity and how we're perhaps at a cusp now where we're seeing a lot of our automated offensive and defensive tools leveraging, you know, artificial intelligence and also machine learning and taking a step change, which is probably on the horizon. Well, in region, we're not really at that point now. In region here within the UAE, we're at the point where cloud adoption is at the forefront of most transformation programs happening. And that's been, you know, the chicken and egg. That's probably because we've not had the infrastructure needed. So now, you know, Azure, Microsoft has deployed, you know, data centers within countries. So that's helped enable a lot of the digital transformation projects that are currently underway. So I think 2021 is literally going to be massive digitization of data centers, applications, entire infrastructures of companies. And where cyber will fit into that is being able to offer services that plug and play well into those architecture types. This will be really key. So at the moment, there's a few offerings, but I think this is still an area which needs to be developed and exploited more and also brought to market. So I think a lot of the leaders here, the CTOs, the CIOs, they're pushed by the board to have a strong agenda to bring their cost base down, you know, realizing any losses from 2021 hitting the balance sheet from 2020. So anyone who's offering services within this area, being able to demonstrate assurance around cloud adoption and really being able to have a good risk management on the cybersecurity risk side of things, those technical security gaps, would really benefit here. The other areas which are really strong are, you know, machine learning based security defense technologies, you know, that are cloud leveraged. These are really taking shape now also. So that's some low hanging fruit I'd like to share with you. Just trying to think of a couple of other areas which might benefit. In terms of delivery and changes within the last 12 months, so I've seen organization changes with a lot of different, you know, within the finance sector and also the government sector, is that there's been a lot of consolidation. So it's kind of stepped back a little bit. So a lot of the technology leaders are now looking at managing security themselves, okay? So this addresses one key issue that we always have in cybersecurity field, and that's the lack of skills. So any tooling, any applications which can help leaders manage their pressures within cybersecurity in an agile way, for example, implementing AI for defensive capabilities, and then having a smaller cybersecurity operating center, for example, off the back of that, leveraging those technologies, is the type of success stories that we're going to start seeing in 2021. So this is the sort of insight that I think may benefit you. I hope it does. And I really hope that everyone joining the call, or everyone who's watching the video playback, will be able to come and visit us in Dubai at GISEC. And we really do try to have fun there. As you can see, if you're watching earlier, with Nawaz was really giving a great example of how we bring to the audience a great set of dark, deep hacking skills, also with the CISO high-level leadership, thought leadership as well. So anyway, I'm going to cut short there. I hope this was beneficial to all those that have joined. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Nathan. If I could just follow up with one quick question, which I think we should address, is if you could talk just for a quick minute about the data control within the region that the UAE has, as far as if you are dealing with any private data that the database and the infrastructure, the cloud center, has to be within the country. If you want to mention that really quickly, I think that's important.
Yeah, that's a very important point. So there is a government directive that stipulates that data has to reside in the country. So that has meant that a lot of businesses looking for cloud adoption have had to use Microsoft-based products in cloud due to that regulation. Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you very much for that. If we could open up the chat now for any questions, myself, Nawaz are open to any questions. Here, just my background, if you're interested in what Dubai's like, or what the UAE's like, or doing business, or questions around COVID, flights, visas, all this type of stuff is open topics. So please write what you have in there. Let's see. Deborah says, I thought I heard you say hybrid. Yes, that was my mistake. I was actually thinking of December show last month. So this isn't going to be a hybrid event this year. There is not. That's my mistake. There's not a virtual part of this. This is a in-person event only in Dubai. And we're, just to follow up on that, we're hoping that with the vaccine in place now, with both countries sort of neck and neck with who's going to finish first, that will actually be the two countries within the region that get out of this quickly, and we have much less risk. Now, keep in mind, in December, when we went to GITEX, we had all kinds of COVID was an issue. We had to get tested before we went. We had to get tested at the airport. We got tested on the way back. We couldn't fly, then we could fly, but we couldn't land. There was all kinds of other issues. So visas are extended also till I think June, July is when they pushed it to. So we'll still have to apply for visas for people like we did in December. That's not a big deal, but it is something to keep in mind.
Just to continue there, George, she also asked if there is a plan B in case the event can't take place in person. So we are going to push for physical. We don't see a lot of value from our show from the virtual standpoint, from our experience in December. So what we're doing is we're going to have this show physical. Worst situation, if something really happens, which I don't foresee happening, because we have, in fact, a big, massive show next month, which is Gulf Food, which is going to be in person with 87 country representation. A huge show, one of the largest food exhibitions in the world. So it's going to go forward next month on the 25th. So I'm quite positive about it going through in May. By then, we see that the vaccination should have rolled out quite heavily. In case worse comes to worse, we would probably have to postpone the show, but we're not going to go the virtual route, to answer your question, Deborah.
Thank you, Nawaz. Let's see. Oren asked, how can I get a list of cybersecurity integrators so as to meet some during the show? Can I get any help from you guys? So two sides, Mia Consulting, that's me and my partner Gil here. We provide just not this event and other events, but we also provide go-to-marketing services, business development, matchmaking, meetings, things like that as well. The show itself has a component of that built in where they will do matchmaking for you. You identify which target audiences you want. You work with Nawaz and his team and say, this is who I want to meet. They go back and they try to arrange that on your behalf. That's a very, very efficient way to do it. We also have our own contacts there, a lot at Microsoft. If you're on Azure, that's great. And we can help you with introductions as well before the show. I would say for anyone who wants to attend this as a participant or as an exhibitor, you have to prepare. This is a new market. There are people who come from all over the world for this event. It's sort of like going to Las Vegas. You're not necessarily doing business with people in Las Vegas. You're doing business with the whole world who happens to show up there. So do your work as well. Can you arrange one-to-one meetings, introductions outside of this event? Nawaz, I'm going to let you answer that, and then I'll follow up with mine.
We normally do not provide that kind of a service. So it is the service for us is for our exhibitors, for our clients and customers. Of course, you are welcome as a visitor to come and try and network should you not want to exhibit. But of course, we provide this service for our exhibitors and clients.
And from my side, from MIA Consulting, private meetings, offsites, introductions, setting up meetings is something we do. So if you want to go and take your entire company and do the event itself and then do an offsite and do a private event with some partners, we can handle that for you with our partners on the ground. We'll be happy to receive your contact. Okay, Lauren, we will actually be following up with everyone who has signed up for the event. If you went through LinkedIn and you provided your information, we'll send out a follow-up email with a link to the webinar, which will be placed on YouTube. And we will have more of these. Next month, we're having another one. We will have most of this group back, and we will also have some additional people who can talk about the opportunities in the region and new initiatives from the government that's actually pushing money into this area. One thing you have to know about the UAE in general is they want to be #1 with everything they do, which is a good thing. And I think Israel fits very nicely into that plan because we brought, for December, a lot of #1 things to the show itself. And we have a lot of great, innovative, disruptive technology that fits into a lot of very unique niches. Let's say just open it up for 1 or 2 last questions and then let everyone get back to their day. Anybody else going once? Going twice? Okay, so I'll close it there. Thank you to Nawaz, Nathan, James for attending today. This is a wonderful opportunity, I think, for us to be able to learn about the market and what's available and how you can participate. And I hope that everyone will get the opportunity to visit Dubai at some point, and we'll all get out of this COVID situation. I'm sure you've heard it enough, and get back to being in person and doing business. And I look forward to hearing from you. We'll follow up on an email, and any other questions you have, please let me know. Guys, if you want to say anything, feel free. How people can contact you.
Of course, yes. I'm sure George will provide my details, but otherwise, to make it easy, if somebody wants to reach me directly, my email is nawaz.ali@dwtc.com. That's nawaz.ali@dwtc, which is Dubai World Trade Center, dwtc.com. You can reach me there. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have directly as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Just quickly, one last thing for any information. The show has a website. It's gisec.ae. That's GISEC.ae. And it's updated with all the information on attending, signing up for registration, travel, everything else that you need to know. And you can also get us through that website. So everything for Israel comes back to us. So thank you, everyone, for attending, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, George. Thank you, everyone. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thanks for joining. Bye.